During the economic crisis that crippled the motorcycle market, we speculated about new types of bikes that would capture the interest of the younger generations. In 2011, we cheered for the Honda NC700, a pleasant and very practical bike that opened the door to new riders. And in 2015, we have another good reason to cheer, the Benelli BN302. At €3,890, the BN302 is priced affordably, and it represents an excellent value for the money. In Italy, a Vespa Sprint 125 3V is priced at €3,980. The extreme competitiveness of the BN302 comes from the fact that Benelli is part of Qianzhong, the huge Chinese motorcycle group. Top management at QJ requested that the BN302 be focused on the needs of the booming Far East and Pacific markets, where price, as well as excellent durability, are very important. The Pesaro, Italy-based technical team led by Chief Project Engineer Stefano Michelotti has come up with all the right answers. The 300cc engine of the BN302 is a parallel twin derived from the BN600's four-cylinder power plant. It has a 65.0mm by 45.2mm bore and stroke measurements, and the same 12:1 compression ratio. Similarly, the valve size is unchanged, with 25mm intakes and 22mm exhausts, respectively set at 14.8 degrees and 14 degrees to the axis of the cylinder, for an included angle of 28.8 degrees. This means the combustion chamber of the BN302 is a little less compact in profile than is generally seen today. New is the Morse-driven dog valve operation, which features a very moderate 9 degrees of overlap and 7.5mm of valve lift for all. The Benelli engine breathes through 37mm throttle bodies that are 1mm smaller than those used by the BN600. The 302 engine uses the same Delphi integrated injection ignition management system first adopted on the 604 and features an oxygen sensor per cylinder. The new Benelli twin delivers a claimed 38 horsepower at 10,000 RPM, plus 20 pound and 20 pence-feet of peak torque at 9,000 RPM. For a meaningful comparison, the Kawasaki Ninja 300 is claimed to produce 39 horsepower at 11,000 RPM and the 20 pound and 60 pence-feet of torque at 10,000 RPM. At the bottom end, the Benelli 302 follows a tried-and-true layout featuring a classic 360-degree crankshaft turning on 332mm main bearings. The rod bearings are 30mm in diameter, for a very sturdy structure, while the main journals and crank journals overlap a generous 8.4mm. A 360-degree parallel twin needs two balance shafts to counter the primary order imbalance that generates the nasty vibrations for which the traditional British twins of yore were known. The Benelli technicians, however, adopted only one balancing shaft, one to counter the vertically vectored vibrations, while letting the massively counterweighted crankshaft cancel the horizontally vectored ones. The 91.7mm center-to-center rods produce a 2.021 ratio to the stroke, which keeps the secondary imbalance at bay and lessens piston side load and friction. The result is an almost perfectly smooth, vibration-free bike with little mechanical fuss. The engine is harnessed in a rather massive frame, and it's fair to say the BN302 is a big bike for its displacement. The wheelbase spans 55.5 inches, longer than that of many 600cc sport bikes. It is not light either, at a claimed 408 pounds dry. Here, the needs of the Asian markets come into play again. There, a motorcycle is a utility vehicle that must withstand bad road surfaces while scooting around loaded with people and heavy bags. The Trellis Frame looks structurally lean and state-of-the-art in its design, but it uses extremely thick-gauge mild steel tubing. And it's a low-carbon grade of mild steel, for it retains all its plasticity after welding, and its thick gauge helps it withstand heavy loads. For the swing arm, an over-under style was adopted. While conservative in its structural construction, the frame is state-of-the-art in its steering geometry, sporting 24.5 degrees of rake and a moderate 91.7 mm of trail. Static weight distribution is a correct 51/49. Front suspension is by an inverted 41 mm fork, while the rear is handled by a cantilevered shock absorber. Wheel travel is 5.3 inches front and rear. The BN302 rolls on cast aluminum wheels shod with 120/70-17 and 140/70-17 tubeless radials front and rear, respectively. The braking system uses twin 260 mm rotors with 4 piston calipers in front, plus a 240 mm rear rotor with a floating caliper. Overall, the Benelli BN302 looks svelte and elegant, thanks to a well-shaped tank and seat and nicely coordinated accessory components such as the radiator cowl and under-engine spoiler. The engine itself is compact and clean, with attractive side covers and a totally unobstructive exhaust system tucked neatly under the engine.